Welcome to this tutorial. Today we'll be talking about Python for loop, which is our second series in the Python control flow series. We already talked about the if and elif statement in the first series. What are loops? Python loops, for loops is used to iterate over strings, tuples, and dictionary. We already talked about lists, tuple, and dictionary in previous tutorial. So a Python for loop is used to iterate over the elements inside this set. Let's analyze this. Have you ever had to watch someone closely for long? Just like teachers watching over students or guards on duty. In Python programming, that's what loops do. They watch over data and take actions again and again. Let me just break down this explanation further with the structure of the for loop. Just like I broke down the structure of the if loop, if and elif statement, the for loop also have its own structure. Let me use a line comment to explain this. We simply say for item in items, you separate this with a column, you come under and say do something. I'll be backing this up with an example to break it down further. So let's say we have a list of even numbers. I will call this even underscore numbers. Then I'll say 2, 4, 6, and 8. These are the elements in this list. Now, when it comes to this structure, these items here is taking the place of this, the name for this list, even numbers. As I said, I will be using the structure to explain the example. So if you want to iterate over elements in this list, iteration means going over elements in this list one after the other. That's you go to 2, you go to 4, you go to 6, and you go to 8. You have to introduce a new name that's going to take over what's in the list. So you simply say, now going back to the structure, you say for let's say item in the name of the list, even underscore numbers. Then you introduce the column. Then you come under and say print item. So what is this for loop going to do? It will go to 2, print it out, go to 4, print it out, go to 6, print it out, go to 8, and print it out. That's simply what the for loop does. It goes to either a list, a set, or a dictionary, or a string, iterate through all the elements, and print them out. So let's do shift and enter. This is supposed to be item, shift and enter. As you can see, we have 2, 4, 6, and 8. So the loop goes through each number in the list and prints it out, just like checking off a to-do list. That's just what the for loop does. Now let's give another example. The next thing I will be doing is iterating over what is called a range. This is how you represent a range in Python. It's a Python function. So what does a range do? It is used to generate sequence of numbers. How does this work? Let's say for number in range 10, separate with your column, then you come down and say print number, then you do shift and enter. As you can see, this range have generated a sequence for you from 0 to 9. It normally doesn't add the last number. To break this down further, the range work with what is called a start, stop, and a step. So this 0 here in this range of 10 is where the range starts from. The stop is the 9, and the step is the difference in the numbers as it's going down, which in this case is 1. Let's give another example for further clarity. Let's say for numbers in range, let me call this 15, 31. Then let me close this. Then let's put our column here. Let's say print numbers. Let's shift and enter. Look at our result here. You see we get 15, 16 down to 30. So we're saying it should start from 15 and end in 30. But if you want to get 31 in this list, all you just need to do is come here and say 32. If you shift and enter, you can see you have 31 now on your list. So this is how you use the list to iterate over numbers. So I've used the list to iterate over a sequence of numbers. I've used it to iterate over a list. Let me quickly use it to iterate over a string also. Let's say let's create a list of strings. Let's call this week_days, and let's say this equals to, let's call this Monday, let's call this Tuesday, let's call this one Wednesday, and let's call this one Thursday. Then let's close this list. Then let's come down and say for days in week_days, just as we've been doing before, your column here, let's say print days and close this. Then shift and enter. As you can see, we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So that's how you iterate over your list. The next thing I want to talk about is adding if and else statement to for loop. But before that, I want to quickly talk about something called modulus. This is represented by the percentage sign. Modulus in Python is used to return the remainder when one number is divided by another. Say you have A here, A modulus B. That's A divided by B. Whatever the remainder is, that is the result you get. A real life scenario example will be print 10 modulus 3, which is 10 divided by 3 is 3, is going to be remaining 1. So that should be our result. So if we say shift enter, this is supposed to be a small letter. So if we say shift enter, we get 1, which is our result. That brings us to adding if statement to for loop. Say we have, for instance, a sequence of 6 numbers. That's for I in range 6. As range, generate a number for us from 0 to 5. Then we'll separate this with this. Then we introduce our if statement. Then we say if I modulus 2 equal to 0. Then we'll come here and say print even number. Then come outside here and do comma. Then I, that's the number. Then come here and say else print odd number. So what would this do? It's going to iterate from 0 to 5. I'll use the result to break this down. Now you see, we have even number 0, odd number 1, even number 2. So how did we get this result here? The first iteration in this for loop, I will take the number 0. When it performs the modulus operation here, what is going to be remaining is 0. So that means this condition is met. So long as this condition is met, it's going to give us the result even number. But when I is equal to 1, 1 cannot divide 2. So we will not get 0 as our modulus. So this condition will not be met. So it will jump to this else statement and come here and print 1 is odd number. When it comes back to 2, 2 modulus 2, that's 2 divided by 2 is 1. The remainder is what? 0. So it will come here and give us even number because this condition is met. So that's the same thing that will happen till it gets to 5. So the next thing we'll be looking at is the breaking a loop in Python. This is simply used to terminate a loop. You can use this to break statements whenever you want to stop your loop. That's if you want to stop your loop in a particular place in a program, you should just introduce what is called the break statement. Let's take an example to make it more clearer. Let's say we have this list. Let's call this nums. Let's say this is a list of 1, 4, 8, 15. Let me say 20. Let me end this list here. Now let me say for I in nums, if I is greater than, I also explained all this in my if statement, is greater than 15, introduce the break. Then come under here and say else print I. So what is I going to do in this program? Now we have a list of 1, 4, 8, 15, 20. Now if the first I here is 1, so the for loop goes into 1. It checks, is 1 greater than 15? No, it's not. It will jump the program because the condition is not met. It will come to else and just print out 1. Is 4 greater than 15? No, it's not. It will still jump this if statement, come straight to else and print 4. Is 8 greater than 15? No. It will still jump the if statement, come straight to else and print 8. Then when it gets to 15, is 15 greater than 15? No, it's not. It's the same. So the condition is met. What will it do? It will just terminate the program and stop there without going to 20. That's what the break statement does. So if you just want to stop your program in a particular state, you can introduce the break statement using the for loop and if statement. Let's shift and enter and see what result we get. Now you see what I just explained. It's when it's 1, 4, 8, it's the condition is not met. It just comes and prints them. But when it gets to 15, the condition is met. It terminates the program without going into 20. We also have the pass and continue statement. The pass statement is just like a placeholder. It most times does nothing in your code. But the continue statement helps keep the current iteration of a for loop and immediately jumps to the next one. An example will break this down more. Let's create a new list. Let's call this my underscore list. Let's say this list holds element 0, 1, and 2. Let's close this. Then let's say for elements in my list, then let's add our if statement. Let's first give an example with the pass. Let's say if element is equal to 1, print pass executed, then come under and add the pass statement. Then under the pass statement, do a print. Let's say print element multiplied. This is asterisk multiplication in Python. Then let's come here and say print element plus 4. Now let me just try and break this down before I shift enter and get the result. Now we have a list holding elements 0, 1, and 2. Now we want this element to take the position of all the elements. That's do the iteration in this list. That's the first time. If you come to your if statement, you have 0. Is 0 equals to 1? No. It's not going to perform all this operation. Instead, it will just come down here and print 4. Let me get out the result and make it easier for you. So we got 4, pass executed, 2, 5, and 6. Let me explain how we arrive at this result. For the first iteration, we have 0. That's the first time you enter this for loop. This element goes into 0 in the list, then comes under if element is equal to 1. Is 0 equals to 1? No, this condition is not met. So since this condition is not met, so this is everything in this for loop. this print statement is not in the for loop. This second print is outside the for loop because they are in the same line. That's where we normally put the S. So it will just come here and say 0, which is the element, plus 4, and give us this result, 4. The second time, this element here goes into the loop again. It sees 1. Is 1 equals to 1? Yes. Since the condition is met at this stage, it can enter the for loop. So if it enters the for loop, it comes under and prints the first thing here, pass executed. You get this result, pass executed. This pass statement, I already told you, it is void. It does nothing. So it will allow you pass and come into this print. So we have 1 as our result. 1 multiplied by 2 will give us what? 2. Then it will still come here. 1 plus 4 will give us what? 5. So this is how we arrive at 5. So we are done with executing the iteration for 1. So we have the last iteration, which is 2. So this for loop now goes into 2. Is 2 equals to 1? No, it doesn't execute all this. So rather, it just comes to the last print, which is 2. 2 plus 4 is 6. So that gives us the result 6. So this is how we use the pass statement. You just ignore it and Python continues to do its thing at the background. So let's look at how Python uses the continue statement. We'll use this same example, but where we have the pass, we introduce the continue statement there. So you see how this works. So instead of the pass, we'll take out the pass and introduce the continue. So let's shift and enter. So as you can see, this result is giving us 4 pass executed and 6. Let me break this down. I already explained here that the continue statement skips your current iteration of a loop and immediately jumps to the next one. I'll show you where this happened. Now, for the first element here, 0. Is 0 equals to 1? No. Since 0 is not equals to 1, it's not going to enter this loop at all. It will just come to the last print statement, 0 plus 4, and give us the result, 4. Then we'll go to the second iteration, which is 1. Is 1 if element 1 equals to 1? Yes. Since 1 is equal to 1, we are able to enter inside this print statement and come here and print pass executed. Now, immediately you see the continue statement, you don't have to enter this other part of the code. That's what the continue does. That's the explanation here. It stops the program and jumps to the next iteration. So immediately it sees the continue, it stores the programs there and goes to the next iteration, which is what? 2. So it comes here now. Is element 2 equal to 1? No, it's not. So it doesn't enter, it doesn't meet the condition. So it simply just comes to the last print statement, which is not part of the if. The element 2 plus 4 will give us 6. So with this, there are just the few operations you can perform with your if statement. And with this, I'll be rounding up this tutorial. In the next video, I'll be talking about while loop and how we can use it in Python, machine learning, and data science. Thanks for watching.